What's up, Sheeples?
Hello, Sheeples.
That is not
Okay, that
Z.
okay.
This is
That
Z.
is that. This is this is eight. I keep my name from last gaming podcast.
Oh,
8-bit.
fuck, dude. That last timing podcast was such a long time ago. It seems like, what is it, 2 months, 3 months almost?
Yeah, 3 months.
Fuck, that
Also,
was
it was
one
the
of
first
those.
time.
Yeah, yeah,
First time
yeah.
we recorded after like quarantine
Oh,
started,
I
right?
mean, if any of you guys want to listen to, any of you sheeples want to listen to a shitty audio quality from my part, that's the podcast you need to go back to because I was just figuring my shit out and I'd worn a pair of Bluetooth headphones, and my god, that quality was bad. But for the love of gaming, we went on and then we went on.
Yeah. Also, we kind of spoke over each other a lot at that time because
Oh, yeah.
we didn't know our own
Yeah.
I guess speech cues at the time.
True.
We kind of got confused about how do we speak and talk to each other, and I think I spoke a way too much and Z spoke way too less, kind of like the previous one, kind of like the previous pod like that we
Previous
removed.
connected this, yeah. I wasn't even there. It was just like a
Dude,
formality. Like I was like a hidden specter in the background, just lurking. Like,
just
okay,
just for the sheeples information, like if you haven't already heard the previous episode, which we recommend, you should check it out. It's a lot of fun. It was all about DC, and we had a special guest
hmm,
on. Shout outs to
yeah.
Darth Mulga.
Woo!
He he kind of is a really big fan of, like, I would say kind of bhi nahi bolna chahiye. Like, he is a very big fan of DC.
Hmm.
I would say I kind of like the whole superhero comic book pop culture stuff, and we got into a full discussion about DC fandom that happened last week. Yeah, about last week, and Z was full on clueless in that
Yeah,
whole
I was like,
conversation.
मैं mainstream तो नहीं हूँ, but मैं सुन लूँगा. Like, okay.
Huh, and that's all he. I think in between that episode, like the recording that episode, he went to like start making food or something.
That was
So,
a joke, but I should have really done that. I think I would have made
bro,
progress. Like,
I'm quite sure I heard you in the kitchen or something.
hmm,
So you
on to
know
me, bro.
you're not gonna get
Busted.
away.
Yeah, I'd say the
But
food that day I was made was really good for some reason. Maybe I just had
yeah.
2 hours on my hand to make the food, so that's.
So since we didn't get to hear from you last time, how you been, Z? How you doing? How's
Dude,
everything going?
I've been so good now that I've gone back to fragrance making. I was missing on.
Woo!
Yeah, dude, it just feels so good to be back to doing that one thing that you can do all day, and even if you're woken up at night, you don't mind doing it. And if any of you are listening to this and you work in a fragrance company, you better hire me because I am the most passionate person I know in fragrances. And I don't know why the fuck no one's going to give me a chance. But okay, I shall
I
sniffle
vouch.
that.
I vouch.
Yeah.
He's the most passionate person I know with fragrances. So
Yeah. My nose knows. So that's all I can say. And I've gone back to fragrances, so it feels good. The weather's gone down a bit, like it's gotten hot suddenly, and that's not good. But I think when you have fragrances along and you can practice a little bit of guitar and you have a roof over your head, sometimes those grateful days are short numbered, but you're glad that they stick around. So I've
the
been
rains.
I've been much better than other days. I mean, like my building's still under lockdown. Some of the other case keeps happening, but I'm no longer scaring myself to death over that. I'm like, you know what? It's certain things are in my hand and certain things are not, and I think that realization is helping at least right now. So yeah,
I think that's the one thing that we always need to kind of realize, right? Like, and everything can't be in our own hands, and we don't have control over everything. So we kind of
true.
have to be able to let go of some things, and maybe like the things we can kind of change.
Unless you're
We
playing
can take
a
control
retro
over.
game and then the control is in your hands because literally the controller is in your hands.
Yeah.
Bad joke
Oh, bro, but
alert.
but honestly, like in the retro games era, the controllers weren't the best. They've
Fuck
improved a
no, dude.
lot
I
since
don't
then.
know, man. Like I'm talking about arcades and joysticks were like fun, like
They
fun
were fun. They
AF.
were fun.
They were so
But
like
they were
arcades
also
were.
janky AF. They were janky
Yeah,
AF
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
No, dude, because like arcades were built to get you to spend money, right?
Yeah,
But as a
yeah,
young kid, you were like, I don't know why is it so tough. It should be easier. Like,
yeah.
but no, you had to go buy those tokens, dude. Like sometimes I'm telling you, arcade money feels so much more appealing than real money. Like, like I
Yeah.
don't know, the logic's twisted, but it's just so wholesome when you just like exchange your fake real money and get that real arcade money. And you know those coins and you just insert those tokens like damn, and you feel so poor when it asks you to insert a token but you don't have a token, and you just
Bro,
let it
like the
go.
worst part is the amount of tokens they ask for is so
Oh
high, and
god,
you always think you've gotten like, oh, I've gotten so many tokens,
fuck,
must be enough. No,
serious,
no, it's
dude,
never enough.
serious, man, it's never
It
enough.
it's basically capitalism being taught to young kids.
Agreed. I mean, yeah, dude, it's just messed up. I mean, like, I wish there was like, a better way of teaching kids would have been like, if you run out of tokens, you can go do some small chores on the side and earn more tokens. Like, I know that as a kid, I would have fucking done that. Like, if you would ask me, so most of the arcades I visited were inside shopping malls. Usually the top floor of an arcade was dedicated to a top floor of a
Top
shopping mall.
top floor of an
Yeah, dude,
arcade. I wish
full
that
full.
arcades were that big.
Yeah, right. So I remember like there used to be a huge ass food court next to the arcade, and like I kid you not, if you told me that arcades have run the tokens have run out, and if you want more, you have to go clean tables. I would have fucking cleaned tables, like so happily, like not even bat an eyelash. But yeah, it didn't work that way. Usually, just ended up me looting my parents. And my parents just wondering कि इस खाने का तू इस पैसे का कुछ खा सकता है तू? Like, no, I will play a game. I will play the game all day long. Like, dude, have
Yeah.
you have you been to arcades? Did you ever get the chance to visit an arcade?
Yeah. I mean, arcades, I would say, like at least the shopping mall ones weren't like as old
Yeah.
as the original ones. So one of the arcades that I've truly like loved as a kid before I got really into gaming consoles and home stay at home gaming kind of stuff. Before
Hmm.
they were a very big thing. There was this place in Mumbai called Bullseye. And I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
been to
Santa
Bullseye.
Cruz, baby, just chilling like a villain. Nachos and cheese to go along with my
Dude, the
virtual cop.
fries over there was so fucking good. They were so
Dude,
good.
it was the games, bro. It made everything feel good.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, so from the way you're kind of remembering it, I'm guessing you've been there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one of the biggest things over there was like it was a bowling alley plus an
Oh
arcade.
yeah, that was the first time I did bowling and laser tag both.
Yeah, dude, and I was just about to say the laser tag on the top floor, and that was the arcade that had two floors, just to say. On the
Yo,
top
God,
floor was goated. It was fucking goated. It was so good. I loved it.
dude, you just gave me such a happy feelsy trigger of memory. Okay, I'm gonna share this. I remember, I think I must have been probably around 9 or 8, and I have an elder sister, so she must have been 13 at that point, 12 at that
Uh,
point. And
right.
so to teach us math, my dad used to, like, you have this whole thing in India. I don't know if a global audience will connect to what I'm saying, but the whole thing of tables, like 1 times 1 and 10 times 1 and 6 times 7, like you had those tables. Basically it was just multiplication, but back then when we were kids we called them tables. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember like
Yeah.
being a real weak ass at math, and my sister was too. So my dad used to like make us memorize tables, and we had to recite the whole thing, okay, right? From So I remember the table that I was stuck on was the table of 12, and my sister was, I think, stuck on the table of 18 or something. Like, and I remember we had this tables book, and the book had tables up to 30.
You're
And
actually those tables. I was like, no, I was
yeah.
just giving up on life by I think 7, 8, 9 something. I don't know.
Fuck, so my dad made us go up till that, right? And I remember I was stuck so hard on the table of 12, and my sister was stuck so hard on the table of 29 or 30 something. And my dad sweetened the deal, right? He said that
Uh-huh.
if in the next recital you can do it flawlessly, I will take you and your sister both out for a surprise. And I was like, what?
Oh my god.
Like my 9-year-old brain lit up, and I took like 20 minutes to prep the table of 12. And damn straight, I went and slayed that table so hard. Like the multiplication gods were in favor of it. They're like, come here, boy. And like I went there.
Oh
And
my
I
god.
slayed that
Oh man,
table
that's
so
that's
hard.
fun.
And I remember being so happy. And my dad took us to Bullseye. And that was the first time and the only time I went there. And fuck, I remember like we weren't in a good place financially. So it was like a damn big thing for him to, but
Right.
he kept his word. And we had like a small little kinetic Honda. It's like a two-wheeler, like a small bike,
Right.
and the three of us sat on that. And I remember I sat in the middle and my sister and my dad sat, and then we went there and we did like my hands were too little for bowling or laser tag, but we did all of that. We ate nachos and cheese. And I remember playing Virtua Cop over there. If you remember that game, Virtua Cop, not Virtual Cop, but VIRTUA, Virtua Cop. And Virtua Cop was this
I don't
badass.
know if I remember that game, but I do remember a lot of like. So personally, I loved racing games when I was a kid. I still do love
Yeah,
racing games.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I honestly like. I think I played a lot more of the biking and the racing
Dude, you
games over
remember
there
that
rather
super
than.
galactic biking game or something where
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
had to
dude.
double the accelerator for a boost or something,
It was
and you raced
amazing.
on
It was
different
amazing.
planets? Bro, like
Also,
the
those were
feels on
difficult,
that.
man.
Dude, so difficult. Like the bike had like accurate vibrations and shit, and it
Yeah.
used to go so fast. And oh my god, dude, feels happening right now. Like goosebumps
But
everywhere.
Bullseye was goated, and
Was
honestly, I
big, bro.
think
Bullseye was
I wish
boss.
it didn't shut, man. I
Fuck,
wish it was
serious.
still here
Seriously,
because
man.
it
Seriously.
used to be the hangout spot, bro, for people.
True.
Everybody used to be there. It was so good, so good.
Dude, such feels, man. Like you just like
Ah,
that's the beauty of gaming, right? Like when you
al-
combine gaming and nostalgia, you just go places that you
yeah.
can't
Also,
go
also,
otherwise.
also, I do want to mention one thing. With Bullseye.
Yeah,
For the laser tag, right? Like before we move on to anything else,
yeah, yeah,
and before anybody else like wonders if y'all haven't gotten into the program yet, this is going to be a podcast about retro gaming. Yeah,
yeah.
like we are gonna be on a full-on nostalgia trip, and I hope like you sheeples are gonna join us on that one.
Dude,
But
serious, man. Like, cause gaming can take us places.
yeah, but like yeah, so laser tag, the best part about that laser tag in Bullseye was the fact that it was all glow in the dark, and it was
Ooh.
completely like lights out over there, only the black light is on, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
everything neon is glowing, and your laser tag
Fuck.
vests are glowing, your gun is glowing, and you can't see people's faces, you just see the vests, and it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Dude,
Bullseye was
laser
something else.
tag was. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but after that incident in my life, I just forgot about laser tag. Like, it was such a cool thing to do. And you know what?
Yeah.
Literally, the time when I was reminded again of laser tag was Barney Stinson playing laser tag. I think that was such a
Yeah.
amazing recall for the 90s or the 80s kid. And I think that that show took that tangent very well. It was showing Barney's character just being obsessed with laser tag. But
I think
I don't know.
the
I
funny
think
part
people
would
just
be,
do we
uh,
still have places for laser tag? I mean, of course, not right now, but like pre-pandemic, was there still places?
there was one that had opened up very recently. I used to see ads for it everywhere, especially on
Okay,
Instagram.
okay,
And I can't remember the name right now,
yeah,
but like it was a laser tag place that had opened up, and it seemed like it was really good. I wanted to try it out, but then the
yeah,
crown hit us on the head.
yep. Though technically
But
laser tag is a social distance game, but we
yeah.
won't go there.
But you know what I find funny, dude? Z, like how
Yeah.
somehow, some way, everything connects for you with How I Met Your Mother. It's, I guess,
Oh,
because it's your childhood. But
best show ever.
because
Dude, like
every
you know
time
how
there's
Star
some
Wars.
topic,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. How Star Wars is for Ted, like in the series, for me, that's how I Met Your
yeah.
Mother is.
So I mean, if How I Met Your Mother was your childhood in TV series, I wonder what your childhood
Dude.
with console and games was.
Oh
Huh.
God, dude, I have to,
See,
I have to.
I know
So
how to segue into topics. I have learned.
Smartly done there. We're learning the art of content creation, my friends. No, I mean, but I think for me, I think so. If I just dial back a little to being a kid, and
Mhm.
I think my earliest memories of gaming, and I spoke this in the previous podcast, but hell yeah, I'm going to speak about it again. My earliest memories of gaming were on the laptop, on the PC, sorry, and those memories were of watching my dad game. And I think that's the whole magic and the beauty of it, because I was too small and a little too scared to really get the control in my hands. I remember my dad used to play and I used to sit next to him and I used to just like fucking passive drive his ass so hard, like, do this, do that. Okay, run away, don't run, shoot him, kill him. And he would just, I mean, I don't think he's ever gotten mad at me. He would just patiently just sit and play, and he was very patient that way. He would very calmly, calculatively play games.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember, of course, we used to, before we had a PC, we actually had a PlayStation as well, like the really old PlayStation, the first one, not
Before the
this. Yeah,
PS1
I
came.
think they call it the PS Extreme or something. I'm still not too sure
I
about
don't think
the.
it was Extreme. It was
No, right?
PSX. I'm quite sure
PSX,
something
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes, yes. You're right. You're right. It was the
But
PSX. And I
yeah,
remember one day just waking up, being like 6, 7 years old from an afternoon nap, and I come out of the room, and all of these pew, 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 like, just sci-fi sounds are coming from my living room, and I go there, and I am blown apart because my television that just usually showed shitty shows is now showing aircrafts fighting aircrafts in the game of Independence Day. And my 6 year old mind was blown apart so hard. I remember just sitting there, not even speaking a word, and my dad was engrossed and he was playing, and I was just watching, watching, watching. So,
just chunks on the wall like the aliens in the game.
fuck,
Your
right,
mind.
right, right, bang on, dude. And that's the thing. Like, for the first year or two, I think gaming for me was like a sacred thing that I shouldn't even touch. And I was just watching my dad game. And then as I grew a little,
Mhm.
my dad had a job where he went overseas. So, of course, I couldn't have anybody play and watch. So, bit by bit, I started picking up the courage to game. And I think I have a lot of fond memories of retro games because my console of choice is still, and the first console that I ever played games on was the PC.
Fair. I mean, PC technically, I don't know if I would count it as a console as such as a medium to play, but then yeah, fair enough. Like I get what you mean. Like PC and retro games go hand in hand in a way, to an extent. Unless we count SNES and all those other consoles as well that came out.
Right. So we had a
Hey
bit of a
Sheeples,
technical snag.
yeah.
My bad, guys. That's unfortunately the new normal. But I think the last bit I was saying was computer was my console of choice, and then this dude 8-bit said that probably not a console, but he could see
I
where I
mean,
was coming.
you sheeples just heard it technically, and then we are randomly suddenly cutting through and saying, "Yeah, this is what we said."
So this is like full podcast inception happening, but okay,
Yeah,
we do repeats. But yeah, I get it. I get it when you say that the PC wouldn't really be a console, because I think a console was everything except for a PC, but hardcore built for gaming. So I guess I
I mean,
broke those gaming.
PCs are built for gaming at quite a lot of them
Sure.
nowadays,
But
right?
yeah, like I think the initial PCs weren't built for gaming.
Yeah,
And I think gaming was just like a secondary task that they did perform. But something like, but I think we're seeing a turnaround, right? Like if you see, we're coming to a full circle because you look at the PlayStation or you look at the Xbox, and they come in built with browsers, and they have their own apps now, and they can do a lot more than just gaming, right? They're becoming like full functioning media units of
yeah,
sorts.
they're a proper entertainment center kind of thing, you
Yeah,
can say.
yeah, correct. So I see like the console becoming a computer now. So I think like we're doing a full circle there. But yeah, I think all the more power to that. But I think something weird about being obsessed with retro games is that it's not about like a lot of people that I meet who haven't had a very retro game phase, or they started gaming when graphics were much better comparatively. They look back at the older games like like Metal Slug, or they look back at the older games like Mario, or stuff. like the old Aladdin game or like the old DOS
God,
Lion King
I
game.
remember. I remember that Aladdin game,
Right,
bro. It
right.
was.
So a lot of people go like, yeah, well, but it's not as complex or the graphics aren't that great. And I get it. But I think for people who've played it in the time when that was the best that was available, I think,
Yeah.
it creates like a very big impact. So like for me,
Remember
like,
Prince?
oh, bro, Prince, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Dude, remember Dangerous Dave? Like, that guy was.
Dangerous Dave.
Mama
Uh,
Gucci boys out there. We killing it with it wasn't Dave, it was Dave. And that's what I thought for three whole
Dangerous.
years. Till I was embarrassed at a party
Uh,
of 11-year-olds who made me cry. Who made me cry. They
that's
legit
so
made me
funny.
cry. I said, hey, तुम लोग
That is
Dangerous Dave खेले हो क्या? And they're like, come here, friend. Let us get you well
Let us
versed in the
educate
rules.
you.
Let us
Let
first
us,
whack the fuck out of you.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
give you cake because you said Dave instead of Dave. And I don't know, like some of the coolest things happened on birthdays. Yeah, like you were introduced to Pokemon cards on a birthday party. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
introduced to a heartbreak on a birthday party that it's not the way. The birthday parties were like the
Uh,
conflux, like they were really the nexus of confluence.
Dude,
Like
I'm
everything
telling
came
you
around.
that there are some like really funny memories with birthday
Yeah, right,
parties and
dude.
all,
Like
man.
especially those McDonald's Happy Meal memories. Those parties
Yeah.
were, oh god, those were the shit. Those were the shits. But
Dude,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
just on a tangent, like can I mention
yeah,
for a
yeah,
birthday
for sure.
party, okay, this is something that had happened, and sorry I'm taking it away for a moment from this
No, no, go
conversation.
on.
But there was this funny incident that happened where my friend was supposed to cut a cake, and it
Hmm.
was his birthday, and it was the time that song "Birthday Sex" had come out, right?
Oh,
Now,
dude.
mind
Whoa.
you,
So
we are in like eighth
you're
standard.
talking like, okay, fair.
Yeah, yeah, like I'm talking about when what year was this? This was
This is
about 2008,
2010,
2008.
2009, 2008. Okay,
2008. I was
okay.
in 8th standard in 2000. Like my, if you count my years, my college, school years and the technical 2000s years is the same, like as my grade. So 2001 I was in
Ooh,
first, and 2010 I was in 10th, kind of thing. But
that is mightily convenient.
yeah, it is right.
I
So it
bring out
was
a calculator.
2008.
Okay, 1993 से लेके 2007 is कितना? हाँ, okay, go on.
Yeah. But so Birthday Sex was a song that had come out at the time, and
Yeah, girl, you know,
we can't sing because of copyright reasons, but yeah,
yeah.
that.
No, I just said,
Uh,
girl, like, yeah,
yeah, basically.
just,
But my
just
God, like
casually saying stuff.
as eighth standard, not even 16-year-olds, they were what, 14-year-olds,
Yeah,
13, 14-year-olds. This song technically doesn't make sense because none of us know any of that, but
yep.
it was just that something that started playing when his cake was about to cut, and his parents weren't there at the time. But the moment the song starts playing, his parents enter, and then it's just like how you see in those. If you've ever seen the show The Office or something like that, it's just like you see the face of the parents, and then you see the face of my friend, and they're just like that really like blank face of
इस
like.
किसकी ने बड़ा किया था तुझे हम लोग ने इतना कॉल पोस्ट के इधर आ गान मार दे तेरी धाड़ 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 बैट
I
लेके
mean,
बाप सीधा उधेड़
it
रहा है
wasn't his fault. The song started playing. It's just
या
that.
दोस्त किसने चुने
And,
हमने या तूने तो तेरी फॉल्ट है
bro, it was so funny. It was so funny because his parents were just like, "What the? Why?
Damn.
Why are you listening to these kind of songs?" And it's just us laughing and making fun of him because look at what happened. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
stories about birthdays. Sorry, let's get back to gaming.
No, so I mean that was a really cool story. I'm like I was literally there, and I was like, okay, okay. Are you gonna say he got whipped by a belt? Because that was just like the fashionable thing to do
Oh
back in
no,
that day, right? Just like
child abuse,
दोस्तों
no
के
shit.
सामने बच्चे को मारो, like मारो उसको, मारो मारो. But yeah, I was waiting
Uh,
for that part. I guess you censored
I
that.
think I think I think you've dealt with things that I don't need want to
भाई
know.
फटके खाए फटके
Hear
ऐसा
about.
सीधा कपड़े की तरह धुले अपन. But
Patke to bro,
ठीक
every
है.
Indian kid has had, bro. That's
वो
there.
तो
That
मतलब
that one
those
thing
are
is.
what do you call them?
We bond over the patkas, bro. We bond over the patkas.
wounds of pride. Yeah, war wounds होते हैं ना that you show off like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like those are my tattoos. Like when my friends
Yeah,
ask me,
yeah,
तेरे पास
yeah.
tattoo नहीं? I'm like, रुक तेरे को बताता हूँ बाद में मैं.
How fucked
तेरा
up is it that we are actually like laughing about it right
right. Like on some places there is a therapist listening to this, or like psychiatrist will be like, oh my god, these
Yeah,
children are so
but
scarred.
anyway, let's not make it like fucked up for
Yeah.
the people hearing. So
Yeah, no, we're gonna go back to retro gaming. So
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
PC was my instrument of choice,
Hmm.
and I remember the the earliest game. So I mean, you also have to take into fact that for like a 7 8 year old, installing games was like a big thing. Like you didn't know how to do that. You didn't know what piracy was, and you didn't have money to buy games. So that basically left you with games that were pre-installed on your computer, or the ones that your dad had installed, because obviously friends weren't allowed at home.
Of course,
So half the time it was me playing pinball, because that was the most
dude.
interesting default Windows game.
That was such a good game.
The warped idea of space pinball. Okay, like just
Yeah,
like going everywhere and like, damn, I haven't played pinball in so long, man. This just gave me the
like
feels again.
not even kidding. I can hear that
Yeah, right. Ding
sound
ding
of
ding
the
ding ding ding
pinball.
ding.
Like
Like just damn
yeah,
cool.
I can
So
genuinely, I
pinball,
can still hear it. Yeah.
yeah, right. And then I had like basic DOS based games like in the beginning. So I had Dangerous Dave, which was like this
Hmm.
really cool game where you're like a dude wearing a red cap and you're just going through 8 or 10 different levels.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what the story of the game was, but you just had to like jump, and there was a pistol and you could shoot a pistol, and there were floating purple spiders and weird green vegetation. So it's a damn cool game. But it wasn't as interactive. I think what when it got
Yeah.
really interactive was when I got access to games like Aladdin and Lion King and Hercules, and
Dude, those were some
those were
badass games for
those were
sure.
good games. Even they were on the DOS platform, but they had like intricate worlds, and there were storylines, and there was an objective in each level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just connected
I
more
also.
with those games because I had watched the cartoon. So I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
that's why the connect was higher, because you knew like there's a lot more going on than the game offers. But I think DOS gaming was so much fun. Those pre-installed, whoever set up the computer would help installing the game. And yeah, so that was a lot of retro gaming for me. It was basically a lot of spectating, and then like we mentioned in the earlier podcast too, just the idea of a friend that you can game with, or like an elder brother figure, like some older person who's sitting and guiding you through those levels. And I remember that friend of yours in your building who you did one of the Pokemon levels with.
Pokemon.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. So
I
it's
think that was genuinely some of the best memories have been. One of them was like my cousin brother just playing Hitman and me watching him for hours, which I mentioned in the
oh,
previous part about gaming. But like,
Agent
yeah, and
47.
yeah, dude. And all the funny thing about it all is like that, and like the Pokemon thing where we just spent hours in my friend's room just trying
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
catch this Pokemon and all that stuff, which have been amazing memories. But I do want to ask you one thing, since like you've played a lot more retro games than I have, and I per se, I'd say, got introduced into gaming a little, I guess, a little later than you. That also being because you're older than me. Ha 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 ha
Yeah.
ha.
Dude, I just wish we met
Sorry,
earlier. Then I could have been the older person that you were playing with. Like those
sorry.
feels would have been so
Uh,
cool.
I know, right? Like if we had met at that time, we might have like just came together for
It's
a
a
while.
fault in our
It
stars,
would have
my
been
friend.
yeah. Oh well, we at least we get to meet now, and we got to meet in
Listen, it's
our
the other way around, right? Whenever there's
MBA
gaming
course.
going on, it's usually spectating, and then this guy's killing the sass out of Spider-Man and God of War, and just like
And
I
Rocket
don't I
League.
don't he and Rocket League. I don't think we've come to a situation where he spectated the game I was playing, but that's the cool. I think game
I want
trans.
to see. So I was gonna ask you like which game was your favorite to play out of all the retro games that you have played?
Hmm. Okay, I think if I had to like from all the games, just pick one. And then, if you told me that you could just get that game again and you only had to play one game for life, which one it would be?
Yeah.
I would pick this game called Disciples. And Disciples was a game where it was a strategy game, and it was based in a fantasy land where there were elves and dragons and undead zombies and like good people,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
humans and stuff like that. And it's messed up. I just said the humans are the good people because like we're proving shit otherwise. But okay, we are going that whole global warming. Without going there, we'll just go back to
Yeah.
Disciples. And
Global warming.
Disciples was this damn cool game, and I think if the good part is that they continued making versions, and I think the latest version they made, like they started in the 90s, and they made a
Yeah.
latest version somewhere in 2011, 2012. And I remember the developers went bankrupt, just, and because
Oh
they were
man,
so committed making the game,
that's sad.
and the community came together and pooled in money, and there was a campaign,
Oh,
and
nice.
just just for the sake of they pulled in enough funds and the game was made, and it was I think one of the most happiest days. I think back in 2012, 2013, when I got to know this whole story, because it came full circle. Like I think I've been, and I think even to a certain extent you've been from a lucky generation where some of our favorite shows got the closure of completion, like stuff like
Yeah.
Samurai Jack, stuff like
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Like
Pokemon is
Atlas
still
has
ongoing.
seen a resurgence recently. Like Avatar has suddenly come back into conversation because it got released on Netflix and people were watching. Uh,
Oh, that is
yeah,
badass.
so
I still have to watch the Korra side of things. I haven't
Korra is
dabbled
fun,
there, but
dude. People don't give it enough credit. I'd say it took a
mm,
good
mm.
direction, and even though I would say the first
I
season
didn't
isn't
even
the
know it was
best,
there. Yeah, I didn't even know it was there. But
like
dude, do you remember
yeah,
that
like
old Jackie Chan? There was a cartoon
pardon,
where do you remember
pardon,
that
you were saying.
old cartoon, Jackie Chan Adventures, and Jackie
Oh,
has
dude,
this
yeah. The talismans, like
that
Tabis.
uncle like, oh, Jackie.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie! Yeah, like I remember, bro. That was so
Dude,
good.
I remember there was
I loved
I
it.
think the Cartoon Network website or the Nick website had a game also of Jackie
Like
Chan,
it
and
was
I
all
think
about
back
like him and his niece.
yeah,
Where
but
that was
then
a
he
fun
was
one. That was a
badass.
fun one.
He was like the female version of Jaden Smith, and then she would just like put her ass out and moved. But yeah, like what I was saying is that I'm grateful that a lot of my childhood memories have gotten the liberty of coming to a close with a full circle. A lot of
True.
games, a lot of movies that I played earlier are still available. So that way, I feel damn grateful that if I ever want to access any kind of nostalgia, it's either a download
It's always available.
away, or
Yeah.
it's YouTube, it's a walkthrough or a gameplay away. That way I feel super lucky, because when I talk to my parents about a lot of their nostalgia, like old comics or like old songs or old radio or TV shows, I mean they didn't make the light. And it's I mean I don't even have to go back to my parents. A lot of people in the 70s and 80s, a lot of good shows were axed. And
True.
I'm glad that I've never known that feeling of what that feels like. But yeah, I think that was a really long answer to your question. That Disciples is my game of choice, and I don't know how both of us are going to do this, but I mean, we do plan at a later point to do together and upload those videos. But I don't know. I mean, I have this thing in mind
Like
that if possible, we'd both put up small snippets of us playing a favorite game. And I don't know if that's
yeah.
possible. If it is, we will try to do it on YouTube.
I mean, one thing I always wanted to do, and I think we will do from the
Yeah.
Sheeples channel, is I do like a whole series on gaming and do our commentary on it, and like put up our gameplay on the channel to for people to watch. I mean, if people don't watch it, that's still fine because I think it'll
That's
be a lot of
fine,
fun to just
man,
do
because
it.
we're still doing it for ourselves, and I can feel that
Yeah.
energy in your voice right now as you talk, right? Like it's like that passion is frothing through your veins, and it's through mine as well. And it's not about the views. It's not about anything. Like at least for me, my choice would be to go back to 8-bit gaming and get it back. Of course,
we
there are
can
so
we
many
can
other
do a
people.
mixture.
We could, yeah, exactly, right? We do a mixture of modern meets 8-bit and what that feels like. And I think, and then there's another episode I think we would do at a later point, how gaming is doing storytelling so well.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's where my friend will be able to talk more, because he's literally researched and he's done impressive assignments on the realm of gaming, especially his
um,
so one assignment that I fondly remember so well.
I
But
think that was the first assignment I ever like made
Yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's why we connected, right? Because I asked you to like send
Yeah,
it over to me, and I was like, "Fuck, you're a gamer too." Like, I'm not a gamer. I'm in it for the retro vibes, but this dude out there could make a living gaming, and he
Nah,
knows
bro.
that.
Like, I don't know about like you not being a gamer. I would say you are because you've always been in with the community and you know what it is about. And
Those
even though
times.
you're not fully in touch with it at the moment, like that's still. I'm quite sure you, if you get the chance, you will get into it
Yeah,
again. So
definitely.
so it's
I
not.
would completely love to. But
Also,
what?
with your answer for disciples, like I remember you talking about this in the previous episode as well. Like you
Yeah,
spoke about
yeah,
how the community came together and got them
yeah,
to get the game like made, which is always like the best, one of
yeah.
the best stories to hear,
Such
right? Like it's so
a
good.
wholesome tale to hear.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the spirit of community really comes along, right? Because of course everyone's profit driven, and but like if you have a community of people, and we did this on an earlier podcast as well, right? Where communities are the future.
How everything has been done before. What has not
We've
been?
become old. We've become
Yeah.
old. Now we're tying everything back together. Yeah, 30 episodes and like, what? We're doing we're doing fine. I mean, that was my answer for one game that is what I would choose. But from your perspective, like not one game that would choose you would choose, but what is that one game that you remember playing right in the beginning and that left like a very big impact on you that you would in a jiffy love to play today as well?
Okay, there are a few that I can think about. One of the funny things is, and this is something I just remembered, like talking to you about consoles and PC and everything. I just genuinely just got hit with nostalgia about me before I got the PS2, which
Mhm.
was my first. Well, technically, Mitashi console was my first console, but then again,
What?
like
Bomber.
it was just one of those things.
Did you have that game
Uh,
on Natasha where there was a guy with a rocket launcher and you had to like press key on the
yeah, yeah,
keyboard
yeah.
to like destroy the people in the parachutes or something?
Yeah, yeah, I that was Contra in that, right? Like we all played Contra.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
that was a lot of fun. I think Contra is again one of those games I can play again and again and again. But just like on that tangent, like I genuinely came. I used to go to my cousin's place, my cousin sister's house,
Okay.
a lot, and they used to have a PC which had a few games on it, right?
Hmm.
I this was before I got my PS2 and just like in between the period of me being too young to understand what gaming was or know what gaming was. I just knew
Through that
things on the
debate.
screen look really cool. They're moving around. Wow. So,
Dude, like something in our childhood brain just lights up, yeah, when you see gaming. Like it
yeah,
doesn't happen with
yeah,
anything else. Like it doesn't even happen that much with chocolates or like anything else. But like gaming is
yeah. Gaming is just there. It's just one of
can't
those
even
things.
describe that feeling.
But yeah, so I remember going to my cousin sister's house and just opening up a game where again, like I think that's why I like racing games a lot is because that was the first game I ever played was
Okay.
at least on that PC was the game there was this game about motorcycle racing, and I think
Hmm.
you'll remember this one. It's very famous, and it used to be one of those games that had like
Rash of roads.
Road Rash. Yep. That was the game, dude. That
Oh,
was such a.
dude, that imagery in the game was
I
so
still. Yeah, like
the
it's
I
like
mean, not like the gameplay
so vivid.
graphics, but like the in-screen menus and
Yeah, yeah.
like stuffing your head down a toilet and in the bar and bandanas and like
I think that was just such a funny game and fun game to play. Also, it
wasn't
was
like
quite
for a kid that was like forbidden
R-rated
fruit,
kind
right? You were like, ooh,
of. Yeah,
like scantily clad men and women, like, ooh, that's appealing,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
attracting. I've never seen that before.
No, but just going playing Road Rash was so much fun because you could do anything in that. Like you're not just racing, you're kind of trying to get the other person to
Dude,
fall
and
down.
remember that rule? Always knock over the old lady. Like I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah, yeah,
why,
yeah,
but
yeah. Dude, that was such a fun game. But that is genuinely, I just remembered that because you mentioned
uh,
like PC gaming and all
dude,
that,
that
and
is gold. That is gold.
hit
Beginning
me.
with rat bikes and going up to like
Yeah,
super bikes. And that sound
but
like just I'm like क्या हो रहा है मेरे जीरो पे भी यही साउंड है 100 पे भी यही
I
साउंड
swear, bro.
oh dude
I
those
mean,
days
gaming has come a long way since those days, but
dude
if
100%.
I had to choose one game, and this because I've played a lot on the PS2, that's as I said, that's my proper first console that I ever played on, and I just had a lot of fun on. I would say Crash Bandicoot Team Racing.
Oh
Like that
dude,
was so good. That was
dude
like, one of my
just
favorite games to play as a kid.
connected in a
And
full circle because I used to play the Crash game on the PS, and that was like more of a
uh
level one, level two, no racing in there. But I remember Crash
also, I
Bandicoot so
think they
fondly.
made a spin-off from that one because this was Crash Nitro Kart, which by the way made a comeback last year.
Yeah, it got real famous, right? Like Nitro Kart.
Yeah, Nitro Kart was really like last year they made a new game with Nitro Kart, though it didn't take off as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one, at least I think people really liked, and I remember playing the whole because there was a whole storyline and there was a whole you played as Team Crash and all that, and you were racing against aliens and stuff. It was so much fun, dude.
No, Crash was such a they created, and that Doctor Neo was the villain in
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those. The
yeah,
yellow-headed dude, just
yeah. He had an N on his head as well.
yeah, right.
So
I'm like, wait, Harry? No, that's not Harry. But it was Crash Bandicoot was like I mean that whole I think era of gaming. I think we played those
yeah.
games late, but I think they came out somewhere in the late 90s, early 2000, I guess.
Crash Nitro Kart came out for the PS2, so when the PS2 was
Okay,
out, that's when
okay.
Crash Nitro Kart was out.
Fair. But
So
I think the whole Crash universe maybe started in the 90s. I mean, I don't have an exact date, but you're right that the Nitro
um,
card came with the PS2. And I remember
I
those
mean,
another
it might be PS1 Crash Bandicoot itself, but
fair.
uh, I don't know how old it actually is. I kind of need to check it out. I'll have to reread the whole thing. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's the console and game that I'm really fond of as a kid.
these are such
At least
these
one of them. There are quite a lot I can name, but one of them for sure.
but like I want to keep going back to this. I want to keep going back to arcades because it's just something we don't see anymore, at least not in
Yeah,
India. And even the arcades that exist right now, I don't know how everything will be post pandemic. But even pre-pandemic, like the arcades were like the only arcade I can think of in my head is the one in Malad, in in Infinity, not Infinity Two, I think in Mega Mall.
time
It
zone,
was
time zone.
Time Zone. Yeah, I still have the Time Zone card. Fuck, maybe it has some points left. But I remember like that being the only arcade that's available, and even then is a pretty stripped down version of what arcades used to be. And I guess that changed a lot, once you had consoles and you did home gaming. But I think
Yeah,
before consoles really hit the market or PC gaming became big, I think an arcade was the only place you would go because you couldn't afford a PC or you couldn't afford a graphic card or whatever. But
actually, one
you
of
know,
those first things that people used to play, right? Like in gaming, because
yeah,
that's where you
true.
had to kind of go and play. You didn't have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
right
you had to
like
go.
tech
Dude,
for
and
for
I think
home
that's why
gaming.
I love the movie Wreck-It Ralph so much because it is such a feel-good movie. Like let's not even talk about how amazing the tracks are, how realistic to the 8-bit universe those tracks are. But that movie is
Yeah,
it takes you back to all of those characters, right? I mean, like I'm sure a Western audience is like at least in India, I haven't played all of those games. I couldn't connect with all of the characters, but at least
for sure. Yeah,
a few of them I could. So I can only imagine like for an American or the European audience, those the characters in the movie would have been such a feel good, nostalgic kickback vibe. And
definitely,
I
man.
think the music is done by the Fireflies, right? No, Owl City, not Fireflies.
Owl City.
Fireflies.
Yeah. Fireflies is one of their songs, but yeah, Owl City.
And then
One of
Owl
his
City
songs
has
actually, because it's one guy. Yeah.
oh yeah, dude, one man band. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I want to keep going back to arcades, and I think the both of us had spoken about this at a point that why don't we?
I was about to
Yeah,
say,
right.
remember that
We've spoken
conversation
about
we
it.
had?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then why don't we get arcades back, and why don't we create like an arcade expo? I mean, because I think the world's moving in this direction of efficiency and sustainability and profitability, and I get that, but it's we
Here's a prospect. I want to throw this out there to anybody who might be listening. Um, if any of your sheepers wanna get on in on this idea of like let's make our own arcade and have this whole experience we set up where it's all retro games and all old stuff. Uh, we would love to get in touch and maybe do something around that. I don't know who
yeah
might be listening. I don't know who might actually even
yeah
come across us talking about this, but this is something we both like truly are passionate about and.
yeah
Just
yeah.
genuinely, we want to put it out there that if anybody is interested in this idea and wants to take it up with us, let's go
The
for it.
game, the game so hard. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, even if you teach me how to do it, I would love to build it myself. Like some things that you're so passionate about that you just stay up the whole night trying to work that shit out. But like like that's the dream, I guess, right? To have like a up and running, functioning arcade center, and it has to be that old vibe, right? It doesn't have to be like all breaking, cutting edge and techno modern. Like it can be really old, and you can get those old kind of snacks there, and soda pops
Yeah,
and nachos and cheese, and like doesn't have to be all
there's
gourmet.
so much we can do
Oh,
with it, right? And it would
yeah,
be so much fun if this was an actual thing. But then again, like it's one of those dreams that need a lot of effort and a lot of investment and a lot
yeah.
of
And if
time.
you're listening to this and you steal your idea and become big, have the courtesy of giving us free gaming rights for the rest of our.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't tell no
We,
one.
we do want to say though, like if anybody is interested in this, do get like let's
Yeah,
do it. Let's get
DM
in
for
touch.
collabs. Hashtag
DM for
friends for follow.
collab.
Like for like.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, man,
yeah.
I think like I don't know, like doing a pod on this is amazing, is fun, but I can only imagine how much fun will it be when we're actually doing the whole live gaming thing. Uh,
Oh,
like
dude, I can't wait because I think the only
seriously,
thing that's stopping us at the moment is that we both
yeah.
aren't like
But
in
let's
the
see if
same
we can
place.
find like a small workaround, even if we can get like a small 10-minute video setup of playing, or I don't know, like I
The
think it would
only
be a
issue is that the screen sharing isn't that great, and both since you don't have the systems that like
oh
we
yeah,
can
some
where we can play together, it
Elgato.
becomes a little difficult in
Yeah.
that sense. So
Fair, fair. I mean, I don't know. We'll find some small jugaad hack workaround, something just for the spirit of this podcast, and try to. I mean, again, we'll try if it ends up falling flat.
we'll try to see what we
We'll
can
try to
do.
see for sure. I don't know, like something fun, something on the Insta stories where we're playing a game and the person can tell us to go left, to go right, and to do like an entire screenshot journey. I know it sounds pretty cumbersome, but I mean, we could do a lot of fun content this week at least. So if you're
Yeah.
listening to this and you haven't followed us on our socials yet, you have to check out Sheeples People at Instagram, where we do most of our stuff, and it's this dude 8-bit who's the principal architect, and he does insane content. Like he's an entertainer in
Oh
all
my
true
God.
sense. I just lurk
Thank you.
around
Thank
here
you.
and there, making sad lame memes on the Sheeples memes
Like
page.
now you've gotten me to think about what I can do with the stories right
Yeah, dude,
now.
like just
Anyway,
imagine like this entire game where we're letting somebody vicariously play, like
no, I mean this
probably
is a thing. Just to let you know, like if you want to try this out, go on Twitch,
okay,
and search Twitch plays Pokemon, where there's this one stream that basically allows the people in the chat to kind of
dude,
keep
that is
spamming what they want the
gold.
character to do,
That is
and
gold. That is gold.
no, no. So you know what the funny thing about it all is, that some like for a while people couldn't agree on anything, so the character got stuck in one place for days. It was nothing happening in that stream
Yeah,
other than let's
yeah.
go right, let's go left. So he used to take one step right, one step back left, one step right, one step back left. So
But just
it
imagine
was.
how engaging that whole experience must have been. Like the whole
Oh,
community
yeah,
must
yeah,
have been.
yeah. Dude, there was this whole thing where 20 hours these people spent playing Twitch Plays Pokemon, and they worked together to win the one gym badge or something like that.
Okay.
So
And this is on the DS, like, or the newer one, the newer Switch.
this is not so no, this wasn't on Switch. This is just like an emulator someone has plugged up, and
Ooh,
so they've
emulators.
created a program around it. What's
Okay.
happened is they've created a program where like the people basically it reads the input that people are putting in the chat, and then it makes the character move. Uh,
Okay.
the funny thing is my friend made his own program and kind of put it up on Twitch for a few days, just to have
Dude,
fun with it.
that is so cool. That is so cool. We got to shout out your friend and tag him in this pod, and let us know.
He's not on he's not on any socials, to be fair. He doesn't like social media at all. But one of my school friends. If you remember correctly, I remember telling you. Remember I told you about like one of the guys who's doing IT and stuff, and
Zinga
was
fellow,
pardon what?
the fellow from Zinga.
No. He not him.
Okay,
This
the other
is
one. Yeah, yeah, I get it. I now I remember. He studied to be probably a game developer or something, right?
No, that's the Zynga fellow. That he's the guy who's studying to be a game developer. He's studied now. He's kind of working. But I'm talking about the guy who went to Google. that, that guy. He made the program. He just coded it in and made it basically. He plugged up. But either way, that was his project that he wanted to do just on the side because he was bored during quarantine, and he ended up doing that, which now he realized that like you need to kind of have dedicated servers for, which is quite funny to realize that quite later.
Yep. So
uh,
after some performance anxiety, we're back.
it's this pod has had some weird cutouts in between, sorry
Yep,
about
yep.
that.
Yeah.
Net problems, internet gods I guess are still not happy with us.
इंटरनेट इंटरनेट का अजान तू ब्रो शेजवान सॉस का टीका कर मैं बोल रहा हूँ all will be
शेजवान
well
सॉस का टीका करके आता
because she's the one
but
bro she's the one.
yeah, so I was talking about like one of my friends also did that thing with Twitch plays Pokemon kind of, and
Mhm.
it was fun. It was like a really interesting experience, and I was just trolling him throughout because he wanted to do something, and then I kept putting in a different command, and then his character suddenly would move somewhere, and his computer would freeze up for a moment because he realized he needed a full server to kind of
Oh,
run that
right.
game. So it was
I
quite
mean that's
funny.
a damn cool idea and I think you you lulled him very hard.
Uh, it was fun. It was fun, but I think it's one of those things that kind of can work. We can try something out. Maybe we'll try
Yeah,
something for Instagram, but let's see.
max to
Let's
max
see.
hug देंगे वो भी डाल देंगे चलेगा भी. We'll own up to our
Yeah,
brain farts.
but,
But yeah, I
but
mean,
yeah,
I
I guess
think like we have a lot of interesting content to do this week. If you aren't following our socials already, you have to because I can promise this week's going to be insane fun. But at the same time, we also want to hear, we know that a lot of y'all have great nostalgia memories with retro gaming, and we want to hear your take on that. And what are the games of your childhood that you probably haven't even thought about till you heard this pod? And just get on that YouTube and then just watch a gameplay if you can't play it again. I think that's the superpower of our generation. We don't really have to do it or play it. We can just watch somebody else playing it.
I mean, honestly, I would recommend watching gameplay on YouTube. It's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and you definitely try it out if you have the time. The other factor is like we would love, as he said, like we would love to hear about any throwbacks that you sheepers had
Mhm.
from listening to us talk about gaming, and we would love to see like what kind of games you sheepers played. I was gonna say guys. I've stopped saying guys,
Yeah, it's such a
but
good
like
habit.
it almost came back. It
We've
almost
become
came back.
very gender sensitive, and then I'm proud of us for that. I
But
just
yeah, this has been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it's been
Recording
insane fun.
recording this episode.
Thanks everybody for listening in, and we're gonna
Yeah.
have go back and practice gaming because it's hard work. So we're just gonna go back and play some games and prep for the content that's coming up this week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Sheeples, and we shall see you soon. And also on our YouTube channel, be prepared because there's going to be a lot of fun gaming content coming. So let's do this. Goodbye,
Sheeples.
Sheeples!
Woo!